Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to say a few words tonight. I am State Representative Stephen Kulik, and I'm very pleased to be joined by my colleagues, Representative Paul Mark and Representative Galen Carriddi. I represent the 1st Franklin District, which borders Greenfield. I represent 19 towns in Hampshire and Franklin counties, including 4 which are served by Berkshire Gas, and 6 through which the proposed Kinder Morgan pipeline would pass. I testified at your May 26th hearing in Boston on this case, so I won't repeat my comments from that portion of the hearing relative to the need for this project and this precedent agreement. I know that there are many people who have come here tonight to talk about alternatives, impacts, and costs. As you may be coming to understand here in Greenfield, many people have a visceral reaction to this pipeline proposal and to any company that wants to be a part of it. Frankly, many are offended by the disrespect with which Berkshire Gas and Kinder Morgan have treated our communities and the citizens who have raised serious and legitimate concerns and questions about this project. And they are puzzled and concerned that the DPU appears to be bending over backwards to accommodate the gas companies and Kinder Morgan schedules. The department has rejected changes requested by the Attorney General that might have allowed time for meaningful scrutiny of the proposed agreement. The department denied the Conservation Law Foundation's request for just an additional week to prepare testimony. And the department also has denied full intervener status to the Pipeline Awareness Network of the Northeast, which includes me, my colleagues here, and other legislators, as well as impacted municipalities and citizens. And the DPU has failed to rule on the related appeal of that decision. To date, the DPU has essentially granted every request made by the companies in these precedent agreement proceedings and denied or declined to rule in a timely manner on requests from other participants. As such, my colleagues and I will be looking very closely at the statute that you've concluded gives the department the right to deny full participation in this proceeding to municipalities, groups of ratepayers, and legislators representing thousands of affected landowners and ratepayers. It is extremely disconcerting that the department could rule that such parties are not, quote, substantially and specifically affected, end quote, by this proceeding with a right to be represented by the council of their choosing. It is interesting to note that at the same time that these DPU proceedings are taking place, your counterpart regulators in New Hampshire ruled just last week that, quote, the environmental impacts of the Northeast Direct Pipeline is relevant to the justness, reasonableness, and/or prudence of the cost of pipeline capacity. Yet here in Massachusetts, it appears that the DPU won't even let a group of ratepayers investigate the rate impacts of the project compared to alternatives. Again, I want to thank you for scheduling the hearing in Franklin County and for making the trip out to Western Mass. It really is good to have you here. Perhaps you came here via the Route 2 proposed pipeline path, or maybe you came via the Mass Turnpike alternate pipeline route. But please understand that people who live here in Western Massachusetts, to them this project is all too real and threatens to disrupt many communities that would see little or no benefit from this project. These precedent agreements are the building blocks for this pipeline. Your decisions will have a direct impact on people's lives, our environment, economy, and the Commonwealth's energy future. I hope that you will weigh and consider carefully the comments that you hear tonight. Thank you very much.
So please We actually always get this kind of reception when we speak, so don't be surprised. And then I woke up. I'm Paul Mark. I'm the state representative for what's called the 2nd Berkshire District. The second Berkshire District begins in Pittsfield in the west and stretches all the way to Northfield in the east. It includes the towns of Dalton, Hinsdale, Windsor, Peru, and Northfield, all of which would be slated for pipeline activity and compressor stations. I submitted written comments, but I'm going to keep some of my oral comments brief so we can get to people, and there's a lot of people here. The towns of Northfield and Franklin County and Windsor and Berkshire County have been proposed as locations for the 2 largest compressor stations that have ever been built in Massachusetts. Both of these towns fall within the boundaries of my legislative district, and both of these towns have voted overwhelmingly at their annual town meetings to oppose this project. Northfield and Windsor are both rural towns with small populations and natural geographic beauty. This beauty has been preserved throughout their histories intentionally, with great effort and at great cost. But that beauty would be destroyed, and those efforts and costs will have been in vain if an enormous industrial complex is plunked down in these rural areas that currently have some of the darkest night skies in New England. These compressor stations are known for their light pollution, for their public health hazard, and even more for their noise pollution. They have powerful engines that compress the gas, and while steps are taken to mitigate the sound, FERC allows the average noise level reaching neighbors to be 55 decibels. A pipeline engineer has publicly stated that living next to one of these proposed compressor stations would be like living next to an airport. The thing about an average limit is that sometimes the noise can be much louder, meaning that sounds as loud as a jet engine could be allowed half the time. People have started to move out of communities in New York where pipelines and compressor stations are going in. It is reasonable to expect similar results in Massachusetts, as I am already receiving letters from the people of Northfield and Windsor in fear of what these compressor stations would do to their communities. We are already in a struggle with population loss here in rural Western Massachusetts. Schools are becoming more empty, services are becoming more difficult to provide, and property taxes are rising as there are fewer residents around to share our common burden. As a resident of the town of Peru, areas of which fall within the impact zone of the Windsor compression station, I worry about the future of my town, my neighbors, and this region if this contract is approved. It is abundantly clear that these towns will receive no benefit from approval of this contract or this project. There is no proposal for the towns of Northfield and Windsor or Hinsdale in Peru, all located within my district, to ever receive natural gas service improvements. This service will continue to bypass these small towns, leaving absolutely no benefit while the residents shoulder the entire burden. Thank you for coming out here. We really appreciate it and holding a hearing in public. Thank you for having me. Thanks to
you. Good evening. My name is Gail Carriddi, and I'm the representative from the 1st Berkshire District. In this matter, the towns of Hancock, Lanesboro, and Cheshire are to be packed with this pipeline. And I know that the communities of Lanesboro and Cheshire have had community meetings where hundreds of individuals have come out with questions and concerns regarding the pathway. I know for sure that they are concerned about their public safety and health issues and fear for the lives of their children as they grow up in the path of a pipeline. I know also that through Cheshire and Lanesboro, there are many farms, and I have been contacted by the farms who are very concerned that they are in the direct path of this pipeline. And while trying to work with people, we certainly do want to let the department know that we're very concerned about the fruits of what may come from these farms in the future should this pipeline come to fruition. We're very concerned about that. So I want to leave you with the notion that not only do the communities that I represent that are going to be served by a proposed pipeline are very concerned, but also communities like the town of Williamstown that recently passed a resolution in opposition. So even though I stand here with my colleagues, which I'm very happy to stand here with my colleagues and support them, please know that there are thousands of people in Berkshire County who have the thoughts of the same way that I do, and those of the residents in the communities of Cheshire, Lanesboro, and Hancock. I also want to say that I stand in support of Representative Kulik's intervenor status, and I hope that the appeal goes through. Thank you.